This is your daily morning devotion from Christ Triumphant by Ellen G. White.
Christ Triumphant. Our choices determine our destiny. January the 7th. Sometimes there is a way that seems to be right, but in the end it is the way to death. Proverbs 16, verse 25. The principles of the character of God were the foundation of the education constantly kept before the heavenly angels. These principles were goodness, mercy, and love. Self-evidencing light was to be recognized and freely accepted by all who occupied a position of trust and power. They must accept God's principles and convince all who were in the service of God, through the presentation of truth and justice and goodness, that this was the only power to be used. Force must never come in. These principles are to be the great foundation of education in every administration on the earth. The rules given by God are to be observed and respected in every church. God has enjoined this. His government is to be moral. Nothing is to be done by compulsion. Truth is to be the prevailing power. All service is to be done willingly and for love of the service of God. All who are honoured with positions of influence are to represent God, for when officiating they act in the place of God. Satan's representations against the government of God and his defence of those who sided with him were a constant accusation against God. These murmurings and complaints were groundless, yet God allowed Satan to work out his theories. He could have handled Satan and all his sympathizers as easily as one can pick up a pebble and cast it to the earth. But by this he would have given a precedent for the violence of human beings that is so abundantly shown in our world in the compelling principles. The Lord's principles are not of this order. All the compelling power is to be found under Satan's government. God would not work in this line. He would not give the slightest encouragement for any human being to set himself up as God over another human being and cause him mental or physical suffering. This principle is wholly of Satan's creation. In the councils of heaven, it was decided that principles must be acted upon that would not at once destroy Satan's power, for it was God's purpose, to place things upon an eternal basis of security. God's order must be contrasted with the new order after Satan's devising. The corrupting principles of Satan's rule must be revealed. The principles of righteousness expressed in God's law must be demonstrated as unchangeable, eternal, perfect.
This was a daily morning devotion from Christ Triumphant by Ellen G. White. Thank you for listening.